Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has just met with Israeli lawmakers and revealed publicly that the chaos in the White House has derailed most hopes for any peace talks. President Trump is about to send a new United States envoy across the Middle East in hopes of renewing peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians. But unfortunately, the latest White House shakeups are already making this an uphill battle. The problem, according to Abbas, is that apparently Trump's team continues to say one thing to the Palestinians and another thing to Israel. Abbas has gone on record claiming he's met with various envoys from Trump's White House at least 20 times this past year, and every time his requests to Team Trump have fallen on deaf ears. Now, with Trump's first major push for Israeli-Palestinian peace supposedly coming up very soon, Abbas is doubtful any progress can be made at all, especially in the wake of some very tough weeks in Washington. Quote, "I don't understand how they're going to conduct themselves with us," said Abbas of the White House. He said, "Given that within their own nation, the administration is in chaos," end quote. Abbas is likely referring to the recent blowback from President Trump's controversial handling of the deaths in Charlottesville, Virginia, as well as the revolving door of his own White House staff, which, for example, lost Chief Strategist Steve Bannon only a few days ago. Many were hoping this latest American envoy would jumpstart peace talks, which have been stalled since 2014. But it looks like we'll have to wait and see just how effective Trump's team is really going to be. Two organizers of the months-long protest against Attorney General Avichai Mandelblit in Petah Tikva have just been arrested. The protesters have been demonstrating against Mandelblit's handling of the investigations into Prime Minister Netanyahu and have been calling for indictments, accusing Mandelblit of stalling on behalf of the government. Now, while peaceful protests aren't an issue, this demonstration has been ongoing for months and without a permit. The organizers simply had an agreement with police that they could demonstrate near Mandelblit's home as long as they didn't cause a disturbance or march towards the Attorney General's residence. Several pockets of counter-protesters have also been present for the last few weeks. But in the 39th week of protests, neighbors filed noise complaints and forced police to push the protests to another location. Unfortunately, the police lamented, the relocation did not go totally peacefully. A disagreement between police and organizers turned ugly, ending with two organizers in cuffs and hundreds of protesters moving to the new location anyway. While demonstrators were embittered by the move, they continued to wave flags and placards against the current government. The Likud party continued in their arguments that the left-wing organizations were going against the law and democracy, and that, quote, "they're not really interested in truth and justice, but in replacing the Likud government with a left-wing government that would carry out their policy. The majority of the public can see that," end quote. Undercover reporters have just exposed a huge and highly disturbing operation of baby trafficking here in Israel. At the center of the scandal is a man named Chaim Aharon Yosefi, an ultra-Orthodox man who allegedly took pregnant Haredi women, flew them to the United States, then sold their babies for a profit. Police first arrested Yosefi 6 months ago in a series of investigations into alleged document forging, and for Yosefi's role in helping young ultra-Orthodox men illegally avoid their army service. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. Undercover reporters from Israel's Yediot Ahronot just uncovered an entire web of illegal baby trading, linking Yosefi to all kinds of international crime and conspiracy. The investigators sent in an undercover journalist disguised as a young Haredi woman, claiming she'd gotten pregnant from a married man and was seeking Yosefi's help. Yosefi then offered her $50,000 for her unborn child and outlined how he would arrange to fly her to the United States to give birth. There, he would collect his own royalties of around $100,000 from a pre-arranged host family who would informally adopt the child, no questions asked, and well outside the legal system of adoption. When the reporter asked about other matters related to her pregnancy, such as regular clinic checkups or consulting with the father, Yosefi pressured her not to speak with doctors and told her to consider threatening the father with allegations of rape. Now, unplanned pregnancies tend to be an issue in the ultra-Orthodox world as sex education is generally avoided in their community. But was Yosefi aware that what he was doing was illegal? Well, this is what he allegedly bragged about to the reporter in one of their very first meetings. Quote, "Just so you know, the law says whoever tries to lobby a woman to give her child up for adoption in exchange for favors gets 15 years in prison. It is very criminal," end quote. A brand new and literally fit for a king collection of rare gold coins is now on display at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. The new exhibit, called Faces of Power, shows 75 gold coins from the Roman era with portraits of 40 different emperors, 3 usurpers, and 13 different women from the imperial family. The collection is a donation from the daughters of famous Egyptian Jewish coin collector Victor A. Atta, who died at 80 years old in 1965. One of the chief curators for the exhibit, Dr. Chaim Gittler, said, quote, "These coins enable us to tell the story of the Roman gold currency for a period of more than 300 years, from the end of the 1st century BCE to the end of the 4th century CE." End quote. The coins are collectively insured at a value of $7.5 million and will temporarily be available for viewing in the archaeology wing of the museum. Not to worry, though, if you can't get there soon. Atta's daughter Giovanni made it very clear that her intention was to forever immortalize her father's collection for all to see and for generations to come.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.